How are you? I hope you are okay at home and you are still looking out because of our problem that we are facing of coronavirus. I wish to continue from where we stopped the last time. We've been looking at the League of Nations, and I just want to hiccup on what we have been discussing. Then I continue with the strength and the weaknesses of the League of Nations. I said everything that a human being stands has weaknesses and has strength. Even if you look at yourself, you also have weakness and strength. So our League of Nations, that is the logo they used to use for League of Nations. And in France, we said it's called Société des Nations, that is France. So we started by looking at the 4 aims of the League of Nations, and I just want to go through them very fast. One of them, we said that Wilson, when he came up with this idea of having an international organization, his word, what he had in mind is that they wanted the League to be kind. What does it mean to be kind? Of world parliament, whereby issues are going to be negotiated, to be discussed, and at the end of the day, they come up with this solution that can prevent occurrence of another war. So where the nations would sort out their argument. So you didn't need to go and face your enemy. You needed just to air your grievances to the League, and therefore they are sorted out. So one of the League, they aimed at having what we call to stop the wars. We find that the First World War had caused a lot of problem in the world, and they did not want occurrence of another war. So that was one of the main reasons why Wilson wanted the League of Nations to be formed in order to stop war. Number 2, he also wanted to improve people's lives and jobs, whereby people do not complain because of the way of life that they are leading, because maybe of their leaders, because of their kind of their conditions that they are given by the employers and the like. And the third aim, he wanted the world to disarm. What does it mean to disarm? To make sure that they are not manufacturing ammunition that can cause harm to the world. So they wanted to advocate for disarmament, where countries, they were to reduce their number of arms, and if possible, they desist from making ammunition that can cause harm to the world. Like in the First World War, where we say they were having the problem of arms. Now, having looked at that, in the 4 aims of the League of Nations, they also wanted to enforce the Treaty of the Versailles. Remember, after the conference was held in Paris, they came up with this treaty. So how was the treaty going to be enforced if there was no organ that was taking care of that? And therefore, the last aim was to ensure that they enforce the treaties of Versailles. So in our today's, we want to look at the organization of the League of Nations, and in the first, they had an assembly. Remember, I've said that he wanted to form a parliament. So the assembly is where the League's main meeting was held, and they used to meet once a year, and all the League Nations members could attend this meeting. So the decision was unanimous vote, whereby all members, they were supposed to vote yes or no. So if one member voted no, it meant that that idea could not be carried forward. The other organ was the council, and I say they used to meet 4 to 5 times a year, and in case to solve the problem. So they were solving the international dispute. So in this, we say they had 5 permanent members, and among the 5 permanent members, we had Britain, France, Japan, Germany, which joined in the year 1926. They also had non-permanent members, and these non-permanent members, they used to be elected by the assembly and the council, and to join the council. So the permanent members, they had what we call veto powers. What does it mean by veto powers? It means that if one member says no to an issue, that issue cannot be carried out. All the members, they have to agree. So maybe all the others have agreed, and one say no, that issue cannot be carried out. So the vote of the permanent members mattered a lot. And that's where, when we go to our next topic, we find the Cold War will prevent now the council progressing, because they will divide themselves among the communists and the capitalists. So the communists, they will always look for ways of making issues hard. in the council, in the league's council. So therefore, the five members, they needed to be in agreement at all time. And when we'll be looking at the weaknesses, we find that one will feature as a weakness because this veto power really made the issues not to be carried out as they had planned. The other organ was the secretariat, and we say the word secretariat comes from the word secretary, where it means that they are the one who carry day-to-day activities of the league. So it comprised of the officials who worked permanently, and their offices were in a place known as Geneva, and they were supposed to organize, coordinate the different functions of the league. That means it's up to them to know how day-to-day activities of the league were to be carried out. For example, when the assembly is planning a meeting, they are the one who prepared the agendas. Now, once they have met and they have come up with the resolution, it is the work of the secretariat to prepare those minutes and implement the issues that have been discussed by the council, and the same to the assembly. So therefore, the council, they had a lot of work. Apart from that, they are the one who used to interpret what had been discussed in all the accepted languages, because the League of Nations they had allowed several languages to be used, and therefore it was the work of the secretariat to make sure that they have facilitated the translation of those documents. And the other organ, which was very important, is the Conference of Ambassadors, and this one was an informal meeting of the more important countries, not part of the league, but often made decisions. So before the League of Nations came to effect, they came up with this Conference of Ambassadors who were given the mandate to solve the issues until the League of Nations was now ready to operate. And therefore, this Conference of Ambassadors, they continue to function even after the League of Nations was formed, and therefore they had a big say in the League of Nations. Now, apart from all this, there are other committees and commissions that were formed, and their duties was to ensure that whatever agreement the council or the parliament has come up with, there is a department responsible for that. For example, we had the refugee committee, we had the mandated commission. All these, they were given responsibility to take care of them, each department. So if it's the refugee, they will take care of those people who were taken refugee or captive during the First World War. If it's the issue of the International Labour Organization, they will take care of the labor department, whereby the employers and the employees, they will create harmony between them. Now, I also want to look at those agencies, one after the other, so that you can understand them. So one was the Court of International Justice, and this one had 15 judges, and they used to meet in The Hague, where even today with the UN, they also have their offices in The Hague in the Netherlands. So them, they used to give decisions. For example, when they have they had come up with maybe a treaty, it is work of the International Court of Justice to interpret that one. If it's the issue of fishing and shipping dispute, it was also taken to the League of Nations to solve. Why am I talking about fishing and shipping? You find these big waters, they are shared by different countries. So sometimes they could bring issues whereby maybe Kenya, for example, I want to give with a nearby idea. We have Kenya, where we are sharing with Uganda and Tanzania Lake Victoria. So when we have an issue, where are we going to take that issue? If we solve it among ourselves, we may end up fighting. Look at Pacific Ocean, look at the Atlantic Ocean. They are all shared by different continents and different countries. And therefore, their decision on who to fish up to where was normally given by the International Court of Justice. So they only made decision when asked, and they had no powers to enforce decision, because all the decisions were supposed to be enforced by the Council, not the International Court of Justice. And therefore, in one way or the other, we can say they were arm-tied, because they could come up with ideas, but they are not able to implement them. Another commission is the mandated commission, And this one was made up of the League countries, where those countries which were taken from the Germany and his allies, they were supposed to be taken care of. And therefore, it was the work of the Mandate Commission to ensure that these countries, they are well taken care of. For example, the colonies, which were administered by the League, and the controlled areas such as the Saar and the Danzigi, which were given to be taken care of them, of the League of Nations. So that was the work of the Mandate Commission. So in our next video, we are going to look at how the other commissions were working, like the International Labour Organization. So let us go to the next video and see what is there.